Hey, my crafty friends. Welcome to Ivyandjute Creations. If you're new here, my name is Kim, and thank you so much for clicking on this channel and video. For those of you that has known me since the beginning, I know that you know that you hear a hurt in my voice. This video was supposed to be a happy collaboration with Kathy Jo DIYs, who is very creative and talented. She'll make you cry, she'll make you laugh, and if you love my accent, then you're definitely going to love her accent. This video was supposed to go Friday at 8, and things took place, so we changed it to 8 o'clock Saturday night. But then Saturday, something took place in my life that knocked my feet out from up under me and hurt me in a very big way. And I feel like I have let Kathy Jo down, her subscribers, my subscribers, but most of all, myself. I feel like a complete failure right now. But however, I will rise above it and I will be okay. But if I can describe to you the heartache that I have felt, it's almost like losing someone tragic. Except this morning I woke up with a new mindset. And I know that this too shall pass. It's only temporarily, and I did not lose someone, but my heart is shattered. So here we go. I took this scrap piece of plywood. I found the center at one end of the board, and it was 4 1/4 quarters plus 2 hairs. Then I took a straight edge and made me a triangle. Now I'm taking my miter saw here and I'm lining up the laser light that it'll put on your project, and I'm cutting it, but you see it doesn't all go all the way through. Well, Sean was scared I was going to hurt myself playing with the angle cuts or whatever, so he brought out another toy that he got me like 2 years ago and I hadn't used it, and it's called a scroll saw. And he wanted me to finish up my cuts on this saw, and so that's what we done. And then there he is helping me. Now we're going to sand it. And if you hold your sander at a 45-degree angle on your edges, that's right there. See? Right there. That'll round off your edges. Then we're going to take this plaque from the Dollar Tree and we're going to sand it as well. This is part of DIY number 1. Now here, y'all, this is going to be part of DIY number 2 out of place. But I took the scraps that was off my first initial triangle, and if you take each side and put them together like a puzzle like this, they're going to make another triangle. And here you just see me pinning braces on the back to hold it together. And now back to DIY number 2. I took a scrap piece of wood and I brad nailed it to the tree for the trunk. And we drilled a hole in the bottom of this Dollar Tree plaque and the tree trunk. And we put wood glue, wood dowel, and all that, and assembled it and let it dry overnight. Now here, back in the craft room the next day, I gave it a first coat of DIY color called Crinoline, because I wasn't sure where I was going with it. And once again, this is Kathy Jo. If you don't know her, I can't think that you wouldn't. And now let's talk about some of her talents. She took these 2 plaques from the Dollar Tree, and this is what she made. Towel hooks for her bathroom, which is now Highland cows. She has a passion in farmhouse. Her new passion, I think, is Highland cows. And she loves her dogs, that's the breed of boxers. Here, y'all, she took what was that, a barn from the Dollar Tree, and turned it into this. Then she took the scrap piece of wood and turned it into this, a shelf sitter for her bathroom, a Highland cow. And Kathy Jo, if you listen to this, I promise you, this is one thing I would have not took lightly. And I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the patience. But sometimes it just happens, and I'm sorry for letting you and your subscribers down. And I hope one day you'll let me prove to you in the future that I don't take work ethics or my word lightly. So when I tell you I just could not do it, I couldn't, sweetie. Now, back to the DIY. Before the details came on about Kathy Jo, I painted my tree in celery chalk paint. And here I'm taking an IOD stamp called Holly Jolly. And it's got these Christmas ornament stamps in it, the Santa Claus stamp, a Christmas tree stamp, and all that. But I took the Christmas ornaments out. And those of you that's been with me from the beginning, y'all know I struggle with placement, embellishments, and all that. So that's what I was sitting there doing, just trying to figure out how I was going to do this. Now I took some red ink, and I started stamping these ornaments on now my tree form. And there's the detail of it. And if you can't get IOD or don't like IOD, you can always look on Amazon and, you know, check out some of their stamps too, and Etsy. This is just inspiration. And I just kept stamping away. And now I'm going to take this stamp called Evergreen. You see all that beautiful greenery stamps? And it's called Evergreen. Now, for those of you that might have a stamp but don't have the ink, pour the color paint that you want on a plastic film, roll your brayer in it, and then stamp. And it's just as good as ink, in my opinion. And now you see the plastic pieces on the Christmas ornaments that the light's hitting? That is called mask. Whatever you want to show in the forefront is what you stamp first, which is what I did with the ornaments. And then now I'm coming back and I'm putting mask on the ornaments and stamping this pine tree stamp right on top of it. And I'll show you a close-up in just a minute how the stamps work. See, it goes on the stamp instead of my Christmas ornament. And so it makes the ornaments like in the forefront when we finish. And all the pine, watch this, boom, see? It makes it look like it's going behind it. And I'll give y'all another close-up here in just a second. Right here. Watch. Yeah, there we go. I just moved a mask, and that's what it does. Now we're going to go back over it with IOD called Newgrass ink. And now I'm just stamping and using my mask and putting the lighter green shade in there. And if I didn't say it earlier, the paint that I used for the dark green ones is called Aviary from DIY. And I just kept stamping and stamping. Now I stamped up my side of my tree too, just so it wasn't so plain and bare. That way it looks like the pine needles are going, you know, on the side of the tree. And then I'm just going to dry brush the base of the tree down there where I actually had gotten the celery from Waverly on it. And I just went with it like it was purposely. Now I'm putting a clear wax on it by DIY. Because anytime you use chalk paint, you want to seal it. That's with DIY paint, Waverly paint, whatever. Now, those of y'all that's been with me, y'all know I struggle with embellishments, and that's what I was trying to do, so I cut it off. But if you visit cottleandgun.com and get some IOD products, if you use ivyandjute in the discount bar code or place or whatever, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. And here she is. And like I was saying, is those of you that's been with me from the beginning, you know I can do the project, but the embellishments, I struggle, y'all. I struggle with embellishments. And so I didn't record it in this video. And here's all the embellishments. And then I decided to add pine cones at the end. Y'all let me know if I should have kept the pine cones on or left them off. Now, moving right along to DIY number 2. I sprayed this little piece of pressed wood, cardboard, whatever you call it, from Dollar Tree. Wet it down, scrubbed the initial design that was on there, and then naturally it fell apart with me. Well, that's what you see here. And now I'm taking DIY crinoline and I'm turning my paintbrush horizontally to the side. And I'm not trying to get full coverage because now it's going to, you know, look like barn wood or whatever with the brown cardboard showing through. I seen Daisy's DIY do this a couple years ago when I was an avid YouTube watcher myself. Now we're going to put this little piece of whatever you call it back together using hot glue. And I didn't mean to leave this much in there, so I'll go ahead and make another apology, y'all. Any of Kathy Jo's subscribers that's watching this video from Kathy Jo's, please don't let first impressions judge you on this video. I'm not myself, and it's took everything I've had to do this. So please go check out a couple other videos before you decide if you like Ivy and Jute Creations or not. And I am so sorry for leaving all this in, y'all, but I'm just taking hot glue and I'm putting it back together. And now here's the 2 pieces that we had used our brad nailer to put together in the beginning of the video when I was out with the saw. We've brought it in, and now I'm giving it a coat of watered down Waverly's chalk paint with a dash of Waverly's ink, and then stirred it up real good, watered it down. Now that it's dry, I'm taking DIY crinoline, and I'm taking my paintbrush and I'm holding it horizontal. You see right there. And this is like a feather. Like y'all, I just lost it. Like the weight with your hand, painting it, that's it. It's almost like you want to tickle it, go real light, and then see if you like it, and then if you do, then start getting more heavier handed and more heavier handed. And now here I'm playing around and I'm doing the back, trying to get all the braces from each angle. And y'all just, if I had it said it before, I've got to remind myself too. So if you are going through something right now, can I just remind you, like I've got to remind myself, let's remember, y'all, this too shall pass. And I'm sorry for letting everyone down. Alright, here I'm taking my plywood tree frame and I'm going to put it down in this little box that we done. I'm going to play around with it, and then I realized I need to get it centered. And my Pacific measurements made it be exactly 2 inches on each side. And y'all, I'm getting worried here because this shape looks like something from a different season. And I don't want to say it and put that image in y'all's head. But I'm panicking now, like, okay, Kim, you got the job done, or the base of your project done. Now it's time to make it pretty. And the way I feel, twine and Spanish moss fixes everything, right? So, to the rescue, I started filling up the base with Spanish moss. And by the way, y'all, I was out of Spanish moss and reindeer moss and polyacrylic. And one of you donated some money on my Buy Me a Coffee account, and I haven't publicly thanked you yet, but I appreciate that. And so that's what bought the polyacrylic, my reindeer moss, and my Spanish moss. And you know who you are, and I appreciate you from the very depths of my heart, all of y'all. You don't have to buy me nothing to make me appreciate you. It's just I appreciate the support, the compassion, and all that good stuff. Now, y'all, we're going to take another IOD stamp called typesetting. No, letterpress. and we're going to spell out December. We're going to ink it up with Stays On black ink from Amazon. And you see I got spacers there because December has 3 E's in it. Now, you're going to see me stamp up just the E. And lay it down. Holding it with one hand and pressing with the other, but not so much pressure that you distort the image. Then we take it up, and you'll see I'm playing around with the R now, and I'm like, oh no, the R is too far out by itself, too much space. So I just threw some paint on it, and now we're going to stamp up ER with Stays On black ink. Now, the spacing is much better. Now we've got December. So now, here I was playing around with embellishments, and I was like, no, it still needs something. So I took red ink, I think it's called Tomato, from IOD, and I stamped up the numbers 25, and this stamp that I'm using here is Farmhand from IOD, and the red didn't show up bright enough, so I took Stays On black ink and I stamped it up with the black ink, and I just very carefully made sure I lined everything up and stamped again. It still wasn't as bright as I want it to be, so I done the same thing. I stamped it up again, lined it up, held it with one hand, and made sure it got good contact. Now, that's much better. Now, here we go. All of you lovely people that has been with me since the first 2 videos, y'all know I struggle with embellishments. But here, we're just going to take some pine picks, just a little small bag that I had out. All my Christmas stuff, y'all, is packed up. And it is extremely, extremely hot in my craft shed, y'all, because y'all know it's not hardwired yet. So I have fans going and everything else, but it's 98 degrees on the outside here in Southeast Georgia. And so in my building, when you walk into my craft shed, it feels like an oven, y'all. I've been wanting to get a thermometer out there to find out what the temperature was, but haven't yet. But it is hot in my room, y'all. Very, very hot. So that was another challenge for this video. And here, I'm still trying to make this shape from a different season, holiday. Get that image out of my head and make it look more like Christmas. Maybe rustic or something. So I added a buffalo bow. I did not go through slow detail, you know, doing the bow or whatever, because it was a challenge myself. Then I took DIY wax, and I went to open it up, y'all, and my building is so hot, my wax is completely melted. So some of it got on my hands, and I just used what was on my hands to rub on this tree. And then when I went to do the staging photos for this one, it felt like it was still needing something. So I went and done pine cones and stamped a red snowflake on each side. And I hope y'all like this one. And just one more time, I apologize, y'all. I'm sorry. And if you're new here, please go check out Instagram, TikTok, and if you'd like to support the channel, but it is not required, you can go to the link, and the link will be down in the description box. Thank y'all for watching. I love y'all.